In the mid-20th century, Latin America found itself caught in the crosscurrents of the Cold War, as global superpowers vied for influence and control over the region. The Brazilian coup of 1954 serves as a pivotal chapter in this narrative, revealing the intricate dance between political ideologies, economic interests, and Cold War dynamics. This article explores the events leading up to the Brazilian coup of 1954 and its implications in the broader context of the Cold War. Historical context. 1. Post-World War II Latin America. In the aftermath of World War II, Latin American nations, including Brazil, were experiencing political and economic turbulence. Social movements, labor unrest, and growing calls for political reform were met with varying responses from governments struggling to maintain stability. 2. Cold War ideologies. The Cold War rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union permeated global politics. In Latin America, this ideological struggle played out in the form of support for either leftist or right-wing regimes, depending on their alignment with the superpower's interests. Brazil's political landscape. 1. President Getulio Vargas. Getulio Vargas, a prominent Brazilian political figure, played a central role in the country's politics during the mid-20th century. Initially, he rose to power in the 1930s and governed Brazil with a mix of populist and authoritarian policies. 2. Nationalistic policies. Vargas implemented nationalistic policies aimed at industrialization and economic development. These policies, however, drew criticism from various sectors, including conservative forces aligned with foreign interests. 3. Populist appeal and labor reforms. Vargas maintained a populist appeal by implementing labor reforms and social welfare programs. However, tensions escalated as conservative factions with ties to international business interests resisted these reforms. Cold War dynamics. 1. U.S. influence. The United States, concerned about the spread of communism in Latin America, supported anti-communist regimes and initiatives. In Brazil, U.S. interests aligned with conservative elements critical of Vargas' policies. 2. Anti-communist sentiment. As the Cold War intensified, anti-communist sentiment gained traction. Vargas, though not a communist himself, faced accusations of aligning with leftist elements, providing a pretext for those seeking his ousting. The Brazilian coup of 1954. 1. Military intervention. In August 1954, amid growing political turmoil and accusations of corruption, elements within the military orchestrated a coup against President Vargas. Facing the prospect of impeachment and unrest, Vargas chose to take his own life rather than be removed from power. 2. Impact on Brazilian politics. The coup marked a significant turning point in Brazilian politics. While Vargas' death led to a temporary consolidation of power by conservative forces, it also paved the way for subsequent political developments that shaped Brazil's trajectory in the Cold War era. Legacy and aftermath. 1. Political instability. The Brazilian coup of 1954 left a legacy of political instability, with frequent changes in leadership and shifts between civilian and military rule characterizing subsequent decades. 2. Cold War legacy. The events surrounding the coup reflected the larger Cold War dynamics at play in Latin America. The U.S. government's influence in supporting anti-communist forces and regimes aligned with its interests contributed to the shaping of political landscapes in the region. Conclusion. The Brazilian coup of 1954 stands as a stark illustration of the Cold War's impact on Latin American politics. The interplay of nationalist policies, anti-communist sentiments, and foreign influence shaped the events leading to the coup, leaving a lasting imprint on Brazil's political landscape. As part of the broader narrative of Cold War interventions in the region, the Brazilian coup remains a critical chapter in understanding the complexities of geopolitical maneuvering during this tumultuous era.